Good evening, everybody. I want to be like, let's buckle in and do this tonight. I am so excited to be coming at you guys live tonight. My name is Megan Elizabeth, for those of you who are brand new, and I know many new faces have joined our Life Above Rubies group tonight. So I want to introduce myself and welcome you. First and foremost, I'm so incredibly thankful and grateful you are here. I am the founder and director of Life Above Rubies and AboveRubiesStudio.com. I've been in online business and in the market space for about 10 years now, and I absolutely love being able to come and share things on business, life, and balance the way you want to have it, the way you want to see success come in your life. We are smack dab in the middle of a 30-day challenge right now. Well, almost smack dab in the middle. Day 11. What can I say? Close enough. We are booking through, and part of this 30-day challenge is just really committing to yourself, getting clarity on your goals and action items that you choose to take each and every day to propel your life forward. Hey guys, thanks so much for joining. Hi Denise. Hi John. Thanks for popping in tonight. I am super passionate about helping people get very specific on their goals, on their dreams, on how to start and take action and see the results that they want to see in their life and in their business, and remove some of the fear and the anxieties and all the different things that can pop up. And one of the things that I've really been hearing and communicating through this 30-day challenge once again, and this is now, I want to say, the 5th time we've done a 30-day challenge through Life Above Rubies. Only the first time ever where I've come on live every single day in a group like this, which is so much fun. I love the interaction and the communication that has been happening, but I've been seeing, okay, we're struggling with like focus or some of the other emotions that are popping up, self-doubt, not necessarily dreaming big enough, all these different things that kind of come up as you're figuring out how to start. So what I wanted to talk about, hey Lisa, thanks so much for joining. I wanted to talk about 10 different emotional messages that through my training and years of working under Tony Robbins through his life coaching program, and then becoming a life coach through his program as well, is these 10 emotional triggers. Hey Cindy. And you know, he's taught me a lot through this that has really helped me since way back in 2005. And I just feel like if I can impart any part of wisdom or help in this to you, then, I mean, way above and beyond have done my job to just encourage and hopefully inspire. And so what I did want to talk about is your focus in what it is that you're doing. I see some struggles in it. I see like the challenges of like, what is it that I'm actually focusing on, and how often we make excuses, which are nothing more than well-planned lies that we tell ourselves, because our brain is so super powerful. It can't decipher visualized or imaginative thing versus actual reality. And we can use that to our advantage, especially when we're going forth in business. For example, if we were to think about something that we hope would happen in our life. Like, seriously, let's think about this for a second. What's something that you hope will happen? Tell me, like, in the comments here, if you can, what do you experience when you hope for something? Like, does it really bubble up and inspire you? Does it kind of have this feeling of like, it could, it may not? Like, what do you feel? Like, how does your body feel? What's going on when you hope for something to happen? Like, you might get a little bit excited, but like, you're hoping. So what's kind of happening there? Now, on contrast to that, shake that out for a second after you kind of thought about like something that you just hope would happen in your life. Maybe you hope to have a record deal with like the most amazing company, you know, I don't know. Whatever. I don't even know what's the most amazing record company out there right now. But like, let's say you just want like a singing deal. And John, I just brought that up because I saw you here and I think about us singing, and it's record deal. Like, let's say, or you want your own talk show. Like, let's say you want your own talk show and you just kind of hope that that could happen someday. Like, what does that feel like? Okay. So now shift that, like, take a second, take a breath. What if you know it's going to happen? What changes in your body? What changes in your feelings? What changes in your gut and your core when you know something is going to happen? I know I've had to have that serious reality check and mindset shift in my own personal life recently. In like, I've been really hoping that like someday this will happen. Just kind of hope. kind of pray, kind of just, you know, and it's like, it's exciting and you like hope and you feel this little feeling and it like bubbles up in you, but then you also kind of go, but you know, it just, I mean, I don't want to get my hopes up too high. I mean, it might not happen. So like, let's just be reasonable here, right, people? Okay, versus like, I know this is going to happen and I know it is coming and I know this is part of my future and my life and my whatever. Like, like when you know, it totally dramatically changes everything. And that's part of what focus does for you. If I'm repeating myself for somebody who was here during the entire 30-day challenge, I apologize a little bit, but I want to give a little example because it actually was so very powerful the other night when, right, okay, so wait, I'm going to pause myself for a second because the comment here, butterflies, but try to hold out that it could fall apart. Yeah, you like, we set ourselves up because we have these emotions and these experiences and all these things that come into our life and we don't want to like set ourselves up for failure. This is why so many people don't even start in business. They want to settle for the 0 versus the 80% versus going to the next level. Because even when you give your absolute best at something, as soon as you arrive at your best, guess what? You're going to go farther. You're going to want to achieve more. There's no arrival point as long as you have a pulse and are breathing. There's no arrival point here on earth, okay? So let's just say, all right, we're going to go to this focus exercise. So for those of you who were here for this before, play along anyway. But for those of you who weren't, I want you to really do this with me and think about this. Your brain has an incredible way to focus on things and to trick yourself into seeing things and thinking things differently. Okay, so when you're stuck in excuses and well-planned lies, when you are stuck in just ick, when you are stuck in feeling strung out, depressed, all these different emotions we're going to be talking about, when you're kind of stuck there and your brain is focused on it, you kind of keep seeing more of it. So for example, all right, I want you to quickly, right now, look around the room and see everything that is brown. See everything that is brown. Look, brown. Find it. Okay, now stop and close your eyes. Close your eyes. Seriously, close your eyes. Okay? Your brain focused on everything that was brown, but I want you to tell me everything that you saw that was purple. Did you see anything purple while you were focusing on looking for the brown? Did you? Tell me. Did you see any purple? You were looking for the brown. All right, now let's try this, okay? Let's try this. And I'm going to tell you what actually happened the other day when we did this little exercise during the 30-day. But comment, because this is really important. Please comment. Thank you, Lisa. Because this is really valuable. And I want to see if tonight, with new eyes and new people here, what you see, okay? So you didn't see anything that was purple. You were so focused on finding the brown. That's what our brains do. That's what they do when we're focused on negative emotions. That's what our brains do when we're focused on excuses, when we're focused on all these things. Now, we want to find a solution. So what I want you to do now is close your eyes. Okay, take a deep breath. We're going to reset for a second, okay? Now I want to think, we're going to pretend this color is solutions. This is everything else outside of the excuses that we make, all the yucky brown that we really focus on and that we see. We're going to reset. Take a deep breath. Now I want you to look around the room and I want you to find everything that is red. Ready? Go. Red. Find the red. Where's the red? Okay, now stop. Close your eyes. Okay. Now I want you to tell me how much more red you saw than when I was telling you to find the brown, because your brain was already kind of prepped for it. And I want you to tell me, did you look around and find anything that was pink or maroon or a different color altogether to kind of trick yourself to calling it red just so you could say you saw more things that were red, because we already kind of went through it once. Go ahead, be honest. How many things did you see that were red? Did you do that? Did you experience that? How many things did you see that weren't maybe exactly red, but you said, no, I want to see more of that. So I made myself see more of it, even though it wasn't quite right. See, that's what our brains do. Our brains want us to see more of what we are focusing on, and we'll find ways to find solutions. Now, here's the really interesting thing. When we did this the other night, somebody said, I'm outside and I don't see anything red except for, okay, the live box. If you're watching this live, there is a little box that says live. She said, I see nothing red other than this live box. And she was like, no, literally, there's nothing red other than this. And I laughed because here's the thing. Hi, Mary. Hi, Denise. Here's the thing. We get so caught up in the rules that we set for how things should look or how things should be. I'm so guilty of this myself, okay? Like, I get caught up in my brain of saying, this is how it should be. This is how it should look. These are the rules of the game. This is what it looks like. That we fail to even recognize, wait a minute, that is still red. All I had to see was something red. It didn't mean just because I was outside and I was looking at the grass had to be red. No, the red was still there. But you have to learn to switch your brain to notice it, right? Okay, so here's the thing. What we focus on expands. So if you're focusing on positive emotions, you're going to feel more positive emotions. That's part of why I have you do the 3 things that you're thankful for every single day. Hey, Shawnee. Okay, so that is why I have you focus on that and start up your day with like, okay, these are the action items. These are the things, what I'm doing. You're writing your goals because there is a purpose behind them. There is a why behind them. And as you continue to like build and develop in the outcome that you're going after, your action items are going to get more targeted and more direct without having this massive long to-do list every single day. Okay? So here's the thing. If we're focused on that, we're going to get more results. We're going to see more actions. We're going to see more things come to life. I'm seeing that happen in my own life again, experiencing it again as I'm going through this with you and in hand with you. It is happening. Things are unraveling. Shortcuts are being had. Things are happening faster and with more momentum, and ideas are more inspired, and boom, 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 stuff starts coming together. That's why I believe this 30 days is going to be so incredibly impactful and empowering for so many people. I believe it with my whole heart. This has been life-changing already. I have received nearly 100 messages, nearly 100 messages since the start of this 30-day challenge that has said, just the commitment to myself alone has made a difference. I've lost weight since the start of this challenge. I've seen improvement in my health. My attitude has changed. I'm finally committed to doing something better. Oh my gosh, I'm clearer on my goals. I'm not kidding you. The amount of messages, text messages, private messages, emails, everything that I have received in 11 days alone is incredible to me. And I want to see more of that come in because I want to see your life go in the direction that you were created for. You were created with a purpose, and to go for it and to like not dwell in these icky stuck emotions. All right. So one of the things that Tony had talked about are these 10 emotions and what these things, it has been great. Tammy said, I'm so glad. Like, Tammy, I just adore you. What these emotional messages actually mean. Now, I did not come up with these on my own, but I've experienced them in my life, and I've experienced them since 2005. When you think about it and you look at it, and I'm not telling you this is like the easiest thing in the world, but it is about changing your focus and changing your state. And when you can learn to change your focus and change your state, you're going to change your life. You're going to change your outcomes. You're going to change the things that happen. Hey, Jennifer, thanks for popping on. So I'm going to give you 10 emotions that I think we all experience on some level or another. And then I'm actually going to give you the 6 steps to kind of reshifting, asking yourself some questions, and hopefully regaining some control and focus over your life. Because you know what? Emotions change in like like they can change in the drop of a hat, right? That's why, love isn't just an emotion. It's a verb. It's a choice. That's why, you have to be committed, because if you wait till you feel like doing something, you're never going to get it done. You have to take the action to control your state in whatever state you are in, right? So, or whatever your situation is. It's not even whatever state you're in. You have to control your state in whatever circumstance or situation you're in. Only you are responsible for that. Nobody can make you feel a certain way. Nobody can force you to feel the way you feel. Thank you, Jennifer. You have the control. It's whether or not you choose to indulge in these emotions or to learn from these emotions. And so many times when we experience these quote unquote negative emotions, and I gave you a list of 10, we either suppress them and try to like stuff them and shove them down in and pretend they don't really exist, or we want to numb them out with like, eating or alcohol or whatever. I mean, whatever you want to use to distract yourself and suppress and pretend like it doesn't exist. Like, don't feel the pain, right? You want to avoid it. Or you indulge in it, and you just like wallow in it because you're hoping that like if I feel bad, then other people will feel bad for me, and then I'll meet my other needs to get love and attention and connection with other people because they're feeling bad for me because I feel so bad. And we spiral, right? And we spiral into these cycles. I'm sorry, I'm so like, whoo, with my hands tonight. I do that anyway. You'll have to like tie them behind my back, and even then I will like wiggle my way out. So these are the things that we do. All right. So I have 6 action steps that you can take to deal with them. I'm actually going to go through the 6. Wait a minute, like coffee? What's like coffee? Don't diss on my coffee now. I'm not sure what she's saying there, Denise. I don't know what that means. I'm not sure what that's to. Comments are just too delayed, so I'm not sure. And I'm talking really fast because I want to get through all this, and I know I'm going to go over an hour tonight, and I don't want to do that. So I'm going to give you the 6 steps, and then we're going to talk. We're going to talk about the 10 emotions. Joe, you know about the coffee. I didn't know you were here. Hi, Joe. Funny. Okay, so here's the stick. No, I can't talk. Here are the 6 steps. I wish I was caffeine overloaded right now. I'm actually just really in a very hyped up state because I'm so excited to share this. I'm so excited that there has been so many changes, and I really believe that based off the feedback, this is the perfect. Okay, you know what? Coffee is not a crutch. I will just tell you right now. Coffee is not a crutch. The reason why I can say that this is as a fact is because I know I can go days without it when I need to and when I just drink water. So I'm going to defend myself and my coffee addiction. I am in a committed relationship. I am not addicted. All right. I'm just saying. Now I really got to get back to the point here. All right. Focus. I'm talking to you guys about focus tonight. What you focus on expands. And if I keep focusing on the coffee, we aren't going to get very far. All right. So the 6 steps. God dang. The 6 steps. Wow. I'm going to have to change the number just so I don't have to say that number anymore. You have to start out by truly identifying your emotions and what you are really feeling. This is too funny. You guys are distracting. I drink my emotions at Starbucks. That is only sort of true. I don't go there when I'm depressed. So it's not a crutch that way. Sometimes when I'm tired. Anyway, number 1, please, is to identify the emotion. Truly ask yourself what it is you're really feeling. And you got to dig deep. You got to trace it back to the root of what it is you're really feeling. Because sometimes we'll say things in our language because we're so used to saying it. We're so programmed in saying it. We'll say things like, I'm really stressed. I'm just so stressed. And you know what Tony said? And I actually just, Katina, you know I'm live. Stop texting me. I love that Tony said this. He goes, stressed. Okay, wait, I wrote it down. Stressed is an achiever's word for fear. We say I'm so stressed and we're so overwhelmed and we're so, all this stuff because we're fearful. There's actually a deeper cause to it. And I was like, whoa, when I really thought about that, when I think about the times I'm stressed, it really is going back to a root of fear. It is going back to a root of something a lot deeper. Especially, for me, I don't know if that's true for you, but when he said that, I was like, whoa, mind blown. So I had to pass that along. But that's the truth. Like, we have to identify what it is that we're really feeling and be honest about what it is that we're really feeling. Because sometimes we'll get into this thing of like, we feel like rejected or we feel lonely and we feel all these different things. But when we really like narrow it down and we find out like why do I feel this way? Why do I feel this way? What is causing this? What is it that I'm actually feeling? It starts to diffuse it as you kind of pick away and ask the question. So first of all, you've got to identify what it is that you're actually feeling. Okay. You can feel overwhelmed by like clutter. You can feel, like depressed by clutter and things being like a mess. It's actually like a proven thing, right? That you can kind of just sense the overwhelm and you kind of spiral into it. You can feel it from, all these different things. So I'm going to talk to you about what these different emotional like levels and messages behind them are and how you can shift them. But you got to start by identifying where it is that you're actually at. And so many times we don't want to identify it. We just kind of indulge in it. to meet other needs, because it's habit, because it's routine, because we're certain we can feel this way and we need that sense of certainty in our life. So we're certain we know what that feels like and we just kind of go back into it, versus reprogramming to like learn something new, to become new, to renew our mind. Okay. So identify it. Second, number 2, write it down. Acknowledge that you freaking feel it. Okay? Again, it's not about suppressing it. It's not about stuffing it down. One of the things that I had to do this last month, and Katina knows because she's been one of my sounding boards. She's one of my people. She's one of the people that I turn to. I'm like, Katina, I freaking feel lonely. And here's when I feel lonely. Here's why I feel lonely. And I know I'm not alone. So what's the deal? So I had to go deeper and I had to be able to talk it out. And she's like, I'm so glad you're like acknowledging it this way. I'm so glad that you are stating what it is and not pretending it doesn't exist. It's not about going out to the garden, thinking positive, happy thoughts, going, there are no weeds, and you do no action as the weeds overtake all of your gorgeous flowers, right? You have to acknowledge it, all right? They have a message. So number 3 is get curious about what the message is. What is it that I'm actually feeling? And how do we get more curious about what the heck this emotion is and why is it there? What does it have to teach us? What is it that we have to do, to grow, to learn? Yes, you can be in a room full of people and still feel completely alone. I can tell you there are times where I know, like, there is a specific set of 16 people that I can be sitting in a room with, and I'm sitting there and I just feel like I'm completely isolated on a crazy island. Completely. It is like the worst feeling in the world, right? But there are ways to switch that around and to change and connect and go deeper. Hey, Jennifer. Hey, Mary. I don't know if I said hi to you already, and if I didn't, I'm really sorry, but I'm so glad you're here. So 3 is to get really curious. All right. So what is the real message of this emotion? All right. Right? Feel like you don't fit in, right? Okay. So we have some different like emotions, and this is going to help you when we go through what these messages are, kind of connect dots a little bit more. So 4, you've got to reassure yourself that you can deal with this emotion you're experiencing. Because I guarantee you, if you are still alive, breathing, have a pulse, you've experienced these different emotions before and you've come through it at some point before. So we all need that little bit of positive reassurance. So remind yourself when you're feeling it, like, okay, I have felt depressed before, or okay, I have felt fearful before. And on the other side of it, I got through it. Okay, so even if you didn't feel like you handled it the best, you did get through it. So reassure yourself of that. And then we're going to step into how to reassure yourself better of future outcomes. My Facebook is killing me tonight. So if you can reassure yourself that you have dealt with it in the past, what you can do for number 5 is start building. It's like building a muscle, okay? When you first like start lifting weights, it feels awkward. You feel like, why the heck am I doing this? But you have to see the bigger picture, the bigger outcome, right? So you have to get certain that you can handle this emotion now and in the future. Okay? So reassure, and then 5 is get certain that you're able to handle it in the future as well as right now. Okay, so you start, that's already a start of shifting your focus, shifting your mindset into solutions and action. Action and solution, focusing on the action to the solution is always going to dramatically shift and change everything. We can shift a lot just by changing our physiology, by changing the movements of our body. Before I go into number 6, think about this. Like, if I were to tell you to get into a really, really sad state or a really upset state, what would you do? Like, what happens to your body? Like, right now, think about it. Like, get really sad. What do you have to think about to get, like, sad? To the point where maybe you'd even almost cry. You feel depressed. You feel worthless. You just, like, what happens to how you talk? What happens to your body? What happens to your breathing? Okay? Can that shift in an instant? Just by, I don't know, looking up and shaking it out and singing a little song and smiling and being thankful, and then you start moving and you're grooving and you change your body and you change your physiology and you say, no, I'm not going to be this way. I'm going to be like happy. Hey. All right. So like, it's not just about positive, crazy ass thinking. It's literally like, hey, what does that look like to in your body when you say no? Okay, I want to like be at a level 10 in happiness right now. How do you change your body? You start thinking about something that was really incredible and amazing in your life, and you shift it and you go, hey, wait a second. No, you remember that time that I overcame this and I had this like super huge success happen, and yeah, and you start feeling good and you start vibrating on a happier level, you can change that in a second. I know you can, because I know many of you just did it right now. I will do this with my kids. I will interrupt their behavior. When they start getting really sassy and really sad and really grumpy and, you know, a little bit like, and like hang their head. Benson's big one is, you know, he'll do this. Like, he'll put his head down, he'll like stick out his upper lip, and his shoulders go down, and he humps over, and I'm like, I'm not allowing it. I'm like, all right, arms up. And I'll make him do it. I'll like make him put his arms up and look up at the ceiling, and I'll make him like smile and make him think about something really awesome and make him laugh. And then we go back and address the issue. Not because I'm trying to like trick my kid, but like I want him to break that behavior of like, oh, I gotta feel really sad and depressed. Like, okay, no, wait, let's stop. Let's have a productive conversation about this. Let's change our state, get a little bit crazy, giggle a little bit, let's talk about something good, and then let's address the issue. I do that with my kids often. I know my mom thinks I'm crazy, but that's okay. I don't care. It works to some degree. I mean, I still have issues with my kids. I'm not going to pretend like it's all perfect, but I can see the difference in changing the state. We have a much more productive conversation. He listens much more intently, and it works. So if it works with a 9-year-old, and it works with me. I mean, I know when I start getting down, I was really on the verge of tears the other night. I go to my singing app. I sing. It changes my mood. It changes my state. It changes everything quickly and instantly. That's my go-to. So you have to find those things to change that state, to change that mindset, to change your focus. So 6 is take the action, okay? Taking the action will change it. It's always going to change how you feel. And sometimes we just don't feel like taking the action. We don't know what action it takes. So we convince ourselves, we don't really know what we're doing. I don't know how. I just feel so, This is where priorities come in. All right, so let's talk about these 10 emotional messages. And yes, okay, shopping, emotion, retail therapy, whatever. It could make you broke. But, so there are positive ways to like take action and the shift. Then you're sad because of your bank account. But that's okay. So that's a good point though, Jennifer. So like there are people who have like they create like shopping addictions because they feel like that's going to feed their state. It's going to give this sense of happiness. It's going to give this sense of joy and fulfillment. So it's the same thing with gambling or drinking or whatever. It's what people use to choose to change their emotional state or what they feel like is going to fill their soul and fill their needs versus finding the reasons why. Like, what is it that it makes you feel? How does it make you feel that way? What is it that you may be suppressing or hiding or putting away? And I'm not saying that you are, Jennifer, because I know that your shopping has more to do with what you actually do for a living than it does just fixing an emotional, like hiding from an emotional problem. But you see the point. You see the difference in that, right? Of course, exercising, being outdoors, laughing, getting a glass of wine. But again, like, there's a difference between needing to have a glass of wine and having a glass of wine to relax. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, there is a big, huge difference when you can actually identify the state and like, in whatever state I am in, I am content. Do you know the power in that? The power in finding ways to deal with that, using these tools to say, okay, how can I be better? How can I grow? How can I learn the lesson? Why am I experiencing it? Versus just shoving more in and pretending to change our state through outside things versus within ourselves. Okay, so yes, sometimes we have to I sing, but it's coming from within me. It doesn't have to be an outside thing. Do you know what I'm saying? I hope that makes sense. So here's the 10 things, and here's what they tell you. So I wrote notes all over my thing because that's what I do. And maybe I should have written more out for you, but I was hoping you could print this out so you could kind of look at and remember the emotions. So on kind of like a scale, and we'll go like 1 to 10. I feel like it gets like deeper as you go down the scale. I probably shouldn't have loneliness at 10 the way I do, but it's there. Okay, so you clean and purge like crazy, but you're taking action because you know what depressed and upset is? It's actually, we're going to get to that, but it is because things feel out of control. It's because things feel out of control that people get depressed. It's because things feel so overwhelming. And if we change the word from depressed to overwhelmed or stressed, which is really a deeper fear of failure, you start to realize and recognize, and you're able to kind of grab hold a little bit better and do better and grow from it. So here we go. Let's start with, you either have a mindset change, okay, so something that needs to change in your perception in your mind, or you have an action item to do from any one of these emotions. So from being uncomfortable, like when something makes you uncomfortable, what's something that makes you uncomfortable? Maybe somebody gets too close in your personal space. Like, what makes you uncomfortable? Give me some things that you experience that just have made you feel uncomfortable in your life. I know, like, if somebody, you know, kind of says something on Facebook that, like, just kind of rubs me the wrong way. Like, it just kind of, it kind of makes me feel uncomfortable, right? Like, and I have two choices of what I can do with that discomfort. I can sit in that discomfort, or I can choose being at this new job. Okay, criticism, they make you feel uncomfortable. They make you feel uneasy. You can kind of feel it in your body. Maybe sometimes you kind of slump over a little bit. But uncomfortable on the scale of like negative emotions typically are one of the easier ones to deal with. You can, you know, decide, hey, I can change, get curious. Okay, what is it trying to tell me? Why do I feel this way? Okay. What is it telling me? Do I need to change my perception, or do I need to change my behavior? So if like somebody is repeatedly making you feel uncomfortable on Facebook, you can choose to unfollow that person. You can choose to walk away. Somebody makes me feel uncomfortable in text conversations, depending on the rapport and the relationship I have with that person. I can change my behavior and say, I'm not participating in this anymore, or walk away completely and block it. You have to, when a negative person gets clingy, it makes me super uncomfortable. Okay, so specifying the boundary, right? So some of those, water off a duck's back. Exactly. I read that wrong at first, and I was like, what is Debbie trying to say? But yes, let it roll off water on a duck's back. You have the power to pretty quickly change your behavior in an uncomfortable situation, but it's setting the boundary to do so. And if you want to get out of the uncomfortable situation, how uncomfortable are you to change that? Okay. And sometimes when people are just uncomfortable, they tend to ignore their own emotions and feelings and just let the behavior continue versus setting a clearer boundary. So then it goes into something along the lines of fearful or hurtful or anger, frustration. We're going to talk about all of them. Fearful is a big one. Our bodies were designed by our creator to feel physiologically different emotions, feelings, and things, and they have a purpose for them, right? So when we feel fear, that is our body's cue and signal to prepare. To be prepared, because adrenaline starts running, you start get pumping, your body's in like fight or flight mode of getting prepared for impending danger or doom. And a lot of times the fear that we experience and feel in business or in relationships or in different things are really things that we kind of get overly hyped about. I love the video Will Smith did. It's been trending on Facebook like crazy. If you haven't seen it, I'll try to post it here. But he talks about like the fear of like getting put on, you know, we're going skydiving and everybody's all pumped and excited. They're going skydiving, and he talks about like getting to the door and like they're going to push you on. They push you on two because nobody ever, you know, everybody freezes on three. But you know, talking about in bed the night before and your stomach's turning and you're like freaking out, like I'm going to jump out of a freaking airplane, like I'm not made to fly, like, and the fear builds and all this stuff pumps up. And then you do it and you're flying and it's freaking bliss, and everything good is on the other side of fear. So fear is a real emotion. It is a real feeling, okay? You definitely have to acknowledge it, but the way you combat it, the message that you can take from it is, it's time to prepare. If I'm feeling scared for an upcoming, let's say I'm going on stage and I'm about to like give a big presentation and I'm about to talk to tens of thousands of people. If I didn't prepare my materials the night before, if I didn't prepare what it is that I'm doing, of course I have every right to be afraid, because this could really crash and freaking burn. But guess what? Even on the other side of the fear, you know, fear of failure, fear of success, fear of whatever it is, what is that fear trying to tell you? What is that trying to help you prepare for? What is it trying to help you protect against? And when you can say, hey, all right, fear is coming alongside of me here. It really just has my best interest at heart. It's not really out to hold me back. It's not really an emotion that's there to keep me from doing something good or that I really desire or want in my life, what is it there for? Well, it doesn't want to see me get hurt. Okay, so how can I prepare a little bit better? What questions can you start asking yourself? How can I take the action to look for solutions in this situation? How can I calm and soothe fear as if it was a person right beside me who was just really like a protective dad looking out for you to just say, I don't want to see you get hurt. I don't want to see you waste your time or your energy. And you just don't know how scary the world can be. And you're going, yeah, but I got this, and I'm prepared, and I'm taking the right action. I'm looking for the right solutions, and I'm so thankful that you're there. I'm acknowledging that you're there and that you want what's best for me. But I really think that by doing this, and this, and having these actions in place and preparing this, I can do this. And you take that next step in faith. There is no place for faith and fear to exist together. There isn't. Unfortunately. And you know, our Bible talks about fear 365 times, if I'm not mistaken. I've been told that, and I believe that's accurate if you go by the New King James Version. Why do you think that is? Perfect love casts out fear. Faith casts out fear. You have to take that step. So prepare. Use that fear as a lesson and a sign to say, okay, my body wants to prepare for something. What am I really feeling, and how can I combat this? By being ready. By being ready proactively, not reactively. Okay, hurt. Hurt comes, it's a simple message. Hurt comes when our expectations are not met, when our rules and our needs for life are not met by ourselves or by other people. We get hurt feelings. So we may experience this sense of loss. We may experience the sense of rejection. It really comes down to when our needs aren't met and we feel this pain of like a loss. That's where hurt kind of signals and resonates from and messages from. And when you're experiencing that, okay, a big part of what may need to happen is evaluating what your rules and standards are. Okay, when you can evaluate some of the rules and some of the standards that you have around what makes you feel hurt, what makes you, and I say that very in parentheses because we choose to allow these things, right? We do. I'm not saying obviously they exist. We feel them. But how are we getting curious about how we're changing our mindset and our actions around what we allow to cause us to feel hurt versus allowing it to be felt and moved on from? What lesson can you take from that hurt feeling? Can you express and communicate what you want now better? And that's a big part of it. It's really finding a way to focus on what it is that you want now. The action was already done. The offense was already taken. So focusing on what you want now. Do you still want the person that hurt you in your life? Can you communicate with them? Hey, I want to understand, because I know in your heart you're a loving person, but what really, like, this rubbed me the wrong way, and communicating, right? In a respectful way, in a I'm seeking help from this way, not a needy, you hurt my feelings, boo-hoo-hoo way, but in a way that speaks love and respect back into the person that may have offended you, finding out deeper what maybe they actually meant. Because how many times have we felt things or perceived things that we found out later were not accurate? Were not true. And we spend all this time feeling hurt and dwelling on and focusing on versus focusing on what it is that you want to happen now. What is the outcome you want to see from this hurtful experience? Because I will tell you, devastatingly hurt by the last quote unquote relationship I was in. Hurt. Bad. I allowed myself to feel that way because I did see warning signs. I did see triggers. I did see things that I wanted to choose to ignore. I wrote all these rules up around it. And if I were to take that hurt and put that onto everything else in my outcome and in my future, what do you think that would do to my future? From that negative place, that last relationship that was not healthy, that was not helpful, that was not anything good, but I put that hurt into everything into my future and focused on that out there, that's all there is. What do you think that would do for my future? What does that do to your future? How many times do we do that? And we hang on to these hurts, we hang on to them physiologically, deeply, root them in ourselves, identify as them, make them part of who we are, versus focusing on That was a situation. That was an experience. The need wasn't met. The rules were broken. It hurt. It hurt. But where am I going with it? Anger. An important one. This comes from a deeper breaking, we'll just say, of our own rules and our own standards. Anger really bubbles up in us when we feel violated at that root level of like what our belief systems are. We allow that anger to creep in and to seep in, and resentment builds up, the upset bubbling takes place, and it's because we feel an important rule of ours has been broken. And sometimes, guess what, guys? Other people are not going to share your same rules in life. So you can communicate your rules, you can communicate your standards, but allowing yourself to be hurt, angry, resentful every time somebody comes along and dings your rules and your standards, there may be a little bit of a constantly happening. There are people out there who they thrive on being angry. They get their emotional needs met by being angry. You can choose to be one of those people. But what are you reaping, and what are your rewards by choosing to be angered at every offense? By choosing to feel this resentment at every pass. You can choose to reset. This is way more of a perception thing, and yes, a behavioral shift, but the perception on what are these rules that you're getting yourself to this point of anger so quickly or so easily. Anger is a big one that I'm fascinated by. I don't feel like anger is something I overly experience in my day-to-day life, so I have a hard time, but how do I say this? I'm quickly attracted to people who get overly angry. I want to calm. I want to be the peacemaker. I want to like soothe it. I want to change it. I want to fix it. I want to make you a loving person. That doesn't work, by the way. They have to want to do that for themselves. And I still don't fully understand anger. So for me to even say like, this is exactly how you deal with it, I can't. I can say, I know it's still a emotion that I know you feel and experience. I mean, I have felt angry for sure. Trust me, I have. I get angry with my kids. Like, I have felt anger. But I know it's one that I think requires a lot more of a spiritual, putting on some spiritual armor. I think all these require some spiritual armor. But I think it's one that especially does. I think it's one that it's a battleground emotion. I think all emotions are, but I'm just gonna leave that there for what that's worth. I don't know. I just felt like I should say that. Anyway, number 5 is number 5. Okay, I gotta move on. Frustration. Frustration comes, hands down, over and over. Frustration comes from trying to do the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. Frustration comes by being inflexible and by not choosing to shift the way you do things. This is totally an action-based emotion. Your actions, or your frustration comes directly from your actions. So unless you're willing to change the way you're doing something, you ever, like, when you're, for Grady's example, like learning to tie his shoes, right? Like, he feels really frustrated when he's first trying to learn to do something new. It's something new and he's not perfect at it right away, and he doesn't have it mastered and he doesn't have it down, but he has to keep learning and practicing and doing something over and over, doing it better and changing to get to the result that he wants to get to, right? So he has to learn, he has to practice. So there's a level of practicing, there's a level of learning, there's a level of developing, and then there's a level of, if you keep trying to do the exact same thing and you're getting nowhere, and it's not a matter of just practicing a new result, and you're not learning, you're not being wise, you're not being discerning, you're not being filled and taking instruction on, you're going to feel frustration and resistance in your life. You're going to feel it in your life. Number 6 is disappointment. This is really a trigger to change the expectation for the situation at hand. Okay, why are you feeling disappointed? What are you feeling disappointed in? Are you feeling disappointed? Frustrating is hearing this is the way it has always been done. Yes, it's not about just the way it's always been done. It's about finding the ways that will work to get you to the result, right, that you're looking for. You got to change. You got to take an action shift. If you are experiencing frustration in the way you communicate with in another relationship or with a friend or whatever, and you're just feeling this constant like, and it feels so frustrating, you have to shift the way you're doing things. You have to change to get a different result. Experiencing disappointment. Okay, so that is a mindset one right there. That is one that you are going to have to evaluate what expectations you have at hand, okay? What circumstances are surrounding you to make a situation better? How can you communicate more clearly? Again, it's that focus on what you want now. So you may have experienced the disappointment, somebody didn't show up or somebody didn't do something they said they were going to do, or you let yourself down and you experienced a sense of disappointment. Okay. Now we have to shift. This is what I expect it to happen. This is what I want it to see. Now, how can I still get to where I want, what I want now, or do I have to let this go? I mean, you have a choice in letting it go. You can dwell in disappointment for as long as you freaking want, or you can choose to say, all right, lesson learned, experience, moving on, right? You can communicate, again, this disappointed me, communicating it, but setting the boundary of saying, okay, I'm not going to dwell in this. I'm not going to sit in this. This is what it is. Here's a really big one. This is a really powerful one that people allow to ruin their lives a lot. And that is regret and guilt. Guilt is heavy. Shame is heavy, guys. And this comes from violating your own standards and rules for your life. This isn't from an outside thing. This is something that comes when we ick against ourselves, when we sin against ourselves, when we choose to violate the rules and standards that we hold near and dear from our belief system, from our core inside of us, who we are, what we believe, and we carry around a sense of shame or guilt. It may come a little bit from outside sources of how we were raised, so we feel shameful or guilty around our parents or family. And a lot of times people choose to try to deny it, try to pretend it doesn't exist, or they surrender to it and they walk around with this badge of like guilt and shame instead of wearing this, hey, guess what? I am forgiven. Been there, done that. It's a powerful one. It keeps you from moving forward. It keeps you stuck. It keeps you in a place of like, feel sorry for me. I feel sorry for myself. Oh, it's a nasty, nasty emotion, let me tell you. I'm sure you've experienced it at one point in time in your life. But here's the deal. There's a really valuable lesson and a really impactful thing that you can choose from this. And once I really grasped this and understood, hey, this is a message to change. This is a message to drastically clean up my act and to freaking do better. This is a message of, hey, if I really believe what God's word says is true in my life and in my heart, and I am forgiven by his grace, by the covering of his blood, by what I have chosen to say I do believe in, am I going to continue to call that a lie because I still have this sense of regret? Or am I going to clean up my act, clean up my game, and go forth and do better? And focus once again on where it is that I'm going and what it is that I actually want. Your life is like a freaking movie, okay? That you play out. It is like a freaking movie that you play out. And let's think about this for a second. If you go to a movie and it is horrible, it is a horrible, horrible, horrible movie. Has your tendency to go out and tell all your friends to go see that movie with you and to go watch that movie with you and to watch it over and over and over and over again and take everybody through the misery of watching that movie? But how often do we do that in our lives? How often do we take our friends through all of our junk and tell all of the story and all of the everything and relive it over and over and over and over and over and over and over again? Been there, done that, been very guilty, right? I mean, there's a difference between sharing your story to like help say, hey, I've been there and I can relate to you, versus like, come through this with me and let's keep watching this movie over and over and over again. Versus like, hey, what if we were the writer and the director and the videographer and the actor and the everything in this next upcoming film? And it's like an epic freaking blockbuster. Like, it puts Steven Spielberg to freaking shame, and it's like, I mean, move over Matthew McConaughey, like, the new star is here, goodbye Jennifer Lawrence, like, on the scene, right? And it's like this epic, epic film. But it hasn't quite been done yet. What if you just start putting out the previews, even though that movie may not quite exist yet? We get people excited around us and kind of pump up the state, and we kind of get the anticipation going just by watching the preview of that new up and coming film, right? So let's think about that as we make that shift, all right? You have to move in from that regret and guilt step into forgiveness of yourself in Christ and say, hey, it's time. Like, let's use this. Let's acknowledge that it's there. I violated this rule. Confess with your mouth, right? I mean, for real. And it may not even just be a rule you have for yourself. It may be the Bible has called you out on sin. Being sin in your life. Being something that is wrong. You've come short. All have sinned and come short. So if you confess and you believe, what are you clinging to? I'm just saying. Number 8. Inadequacy, unworthiness. Ugh, that's not a fun one, isn't it? Yes, I love that song too, Cindy. Hello, my name is Child of the One True King. Yes, absolutely. It's true. It's so true. It's such a good song. So inadequacy, unworthiness, rejection. Ooh, not fun emotions to feel, right? That criticism Jennifer was talking about earlier. Guess what, though? This is another signal and a chance to learn something new. Kind of goes back to what I was saying about frustration. When you feel inadequate in something, it's because you just may not have the skill built up around it yet. A lot of times it's just because we have such a high standard on what perfection looks like, what we feel bad about, what we feel guilty over, what we feel unworthy for. Sometimes that really is, we need to shift our perception and really take a real account of what it is I'm actually feeling. Why am I feeling this way? Is this really real? Is this really a real way to be thinking about this? Or do I really need to change my rules around this? We talked a lot about that in January, about how to change and rewrite some of your rules based on your priorities, and how, you know, we perceive things. But it's an opportunity to do better. And I know sometimes we can feel like inadequate or rejected because of another person, like they made us feel that way because of their actions or because they didn't see the value or whatever. I mean, like we put all these different meanings to what that is and how we've experienced it in our own lives. Everybody has a different way of how they've experienced it. And you have to answer that for yourself. But you have the opportunity to kind of change your standard on what that looks like, but then learn the skills. Learn the skills to communicate with people better. Learn the skills to do better in your business. Again, it goes back to like practicing that skill set, growing in knowledge and wisdom. You don't know what you don't know, right? And so you're going to feel inadequate in areas. You're going to feel unworthy in areas. But a lot of times, if you're feeling that way and it's of high value to you and of high worth to you, it's worth investing into yourself to make a change and an impact. This is where you take action towards that feeling and towards that emotion. 9 is overwhelmed and depressed. And again, guys, that comes so much from just not being able to prioritize what's actually happening. Things feel like they're spiraling out of control. It comes from lack of focus. We really get overwhelmed. And the best way to fix this is by picking one thing that you can go out and do. You're not going to completely change your life overnight. Okay? You're looking around, you're going, I'm 40 years old and my life is a freaking mess. My house isn't together. My kids are like hot mess teenagers. I have this going on. I have a business goal that I want to achieve. I have all this stuff. And you're going, I have to change it now. And instead of changing it, you go into emotional overwhelm and you want to pull the blankets up over your head. And that starts a spiral of depression. It can come from, clutter in your home and in your life. And it can just come from this sense of overwhelm. You have to be able to take action in that one small thing, that one small area, and tackle it. Sometimes you have to tackle it with a friend. But what is that one small thing that you can do to tackle? Because I will tell you, I promise you, positive action completely annihilates depression. Even if you don't feel like it, and that's the big part, you're not going to feel like it when you're stuck in the state of depressed. You have to take action. And I know depression is a very real thing. I know it is. I have experienced it several times from different areas of my life. Serious PTSD, serious postpartum depression twice. I didn't have it with all three, but I had it bad with two of them. Really serious. You know, and I didn't know how to always manage my state in some of it. Some of it was totally hormonal, biochemical. I was having bad reactions to a medicine I was on. All of that stuff. You feel like you can't help it. But I am telling you, combating it started with action. It started with one little step and focusing on just that one little step. What one thing can you focus on in that overwhelmed moment? When the house is a complete disaster, can you focus on the kitchen sink? Start with the kitchen sink. Do the dishes. If the house is a complete disaster and you see piles and piles of paper and you just don't even know where to start, or toys or whatever, find one corner, clear off the coffee table. Like one thing starts the positive action to change. You feel overwhelmed in your business. You don't know what to do. There's too many things. You find one way to reach out and connect with somebody in a deeper, more meaningful way. That is the most positive action that you can take when you're feeling overwhelmed and stressed and depressed in your business. One thing. Okay, finally, loneliness. Loneliness can be crazy, right? It can be a crazy one that we feel. A lot of that has to do with changing our perception. It really does. And then actually taking the steps to find ways to connect with like-minded people, getting into a church group, getting into, I think Joe even posted a meetup group, meetup.com, Facebook. There are people you have to be able to ask. You have to be willing to ask. You have to be willing to reach out. You have to be willing to put yourself out there and connect. Loneliness is very depressing. Trust me, I know. I get very lonely between 4 and 8 o'clock. I feel crazy lonely between 4 o'clock and 8 o'clock. I will tell you. Almost every night I have to say, no, why am I feeling this way? And I had to recognize it. Like, this is stupid. But I know, like, the triggers for me, I'm going to be totally honest with you. Triggers for me are, you know, kids are done school. They're kind of done, you know, wound down the playing. And yeah, I've been really active. I was really busy. It kind of goes in a little bit of a work shift mode for me between 4 and 8. Not totally. It's a little bit more downtime. It's getting dinner ready. I always feel like, you know, I'm getting dinner ready for me and the kids. And it's just that, like, time of day where I feel it, like doing all of the nighttime routine, like devotions with the kids, bath time, getting kids ready for bed, getting kids to wind down and to listen to get ready for bed when they don't want to go to bed, all of those different things. And it can weigh on me sometimes. Like, I'm just being very real and transparent with you. This is the truth. And I've had to realize, like, I cannot go into thinking and hoping and feeling like somebody's going to come along and fix that for me. I have to fix that completely and totally within myself and with God, because you know what? That I had realized it is the most valuable time I have with my kids because they're not focused on mom with schoolwork. I can be pouring so much more into them than being stuck in this feeling of lonely depression. Like, for real. And I had to make that serious, like, okay, what do I need to do to shift that state? What do I need to do to acknowledge that it's there? What do I need to do to change my perception? And I'm not going to pretend to you guys like I have it completely mastered, but I'm telling you, in the last 2 weeks, there's been dramatic shifts because I recognized when it was happening and why I was feeling it and how I was feeling it. And what can I start doing? And who do I need to reach out to? Because sometimes it's just a matter of saying, hey, I'm feeling it right now. Can you just pray for me? Hey, I know, like, rationally, like, I have no reason to feel this way whatsoever, and, like, friends are on their way over. I'm not really lonely, but there's this, like, rule in my head that says I'm lonely unless this is happening or unless somebody's here this particular way, and I'm choosing not to see that red box, right? Because I'm not making it about what's all around. I'm trying to make it about what I see as this rule of, like, I'm standing in a green field, so this one little red box doesn't actually count when I'm looking for something red. Debbie, I know that's not true. I know that's not true. And we tell ourselves we have nobody because we focus on seeing the brown. We focus on seeing all these other colors around us, and we don't qualify the color that we're looking for as what it is. We don't. And we have to change our perception. We can talk more about that on one-on-one call, Deb. For real. But anyway, this has been a lot. I really hope that you will take some time to assess where it is you're feeling these different things, because we feel a lot when we're going through business, guys. When you're going through making major changes, because you've done things a certain way all along, and many are coming into Life Above Rubies because they're starting a direct sales business or they're starting a blog, and they're just new babies in business, and you're gonna experience challenges. You're going to experience setbacks. You're going to experience fear and uncomfortableness. You're going to experience anger and frustration. You're going to experience all of these different things. But if you can look at them and say, all right, here's how I'm feeling them, here's why I'm feeling them, and let's make the shift out of them. So can all these emotions happen in a matter of time? What do you mean? I think we all experience these emotions on a regular basis. It's just what meaning we assign to them. It's truly, are we choosing to indulge in them? Or are we choosing to say, what can they teach us and how can we move through them quickly? Because I've experienced them before, I've moved from them before, and I want to feel happiness. I mean, truly, at the end of the day, we can all call it different things, but we're all setting goals. We're all looking to fill, some of our basic human needs of just a need for certainty and connection and deeper meaning. And really, it comes down to, we want to feel a sense of purpose and happiness. So, are you filling your need of purpose and happiness, trying to get the attention that you're seeking by feeling bad all the time because then you think people will love you? You have to challenge that. You have to challenge that, because that's not real love. That's a sense of obligation, and people are going to start hating you more just because they are already constantly feeling sucked and drained by you. Like, is that the type of person that you really want to be? You've got to challenge yourself. You got to take looks at yourself. We all do. We all do. Can you feel angry, frustrated, hurt, rejected within 5 minutes? I think you can, but I think it comes down to digging deeper into what the root really is, Debbie. I think that if you're feeling the gamut of emotions in a moment, in an instant, I think that there is a deeper thing, and you have to be able to ask yourself and get curious why. Like, what is it that you're really feeling? And dig down to the root. Dig down to the root. And I think that you'll find a big shift in changing all of it is loving better. Loving more freely, loving more openly, loving more unconditionally. And we don't want to do that a lot. But I tell you, what will raise you from the 95% of people out there to the 5% of people that are really, really making a difference and enjoying their life and living business life in balance is learning how to fully, unconditionally love, be curious, shift, change, be forgiving. There's freedom in that. There's freedom in that for yourself, in your relationships. And that's not my words of wisdom. That really does come directly from God's word. That's not anything I could ever know without his light, without his love, without his truth. And until you let that in, until you experience that for yourself, and know who it is that you are in that, you can really let emotions control your life and run its course on your life and be controlled by them versus experiencing them as part of who he made you to be. Who he made you to be. He gave you these physiological responses. He's experienced these feelings and these emotions, but he was without sin. Right? So they're not wrong to experience these, we call them negative emotions. We don't want to feel them. We don't want to accept them. We don't want to acknowledge them. We want to run from them. I think it's better to feel happy and joyful. And we kind of interchange the word happy and joyful. And I think they really may be very different things. And they may be, more to do with the contentment and the peace that you experience in your day-to-day life. And where does that really come from? I really hope this gives you something to think about and to use to kind of assess as as another tool in your day-to-day life. I would love to talk to you more. If you have any questions or feel like, Megan, you are off the deep end crazy, that's fine. I'm okay with that. I can accept that, because I really have experienced these things and these understandings in my life to be true. And I hope I communicated them clearly and well to you tonight, and that I didn't cause any confusion. But if I did, I will happily clear up anything with any questions you may have. I adore you guys. I'm so thankful that you are here. I am so thankful for this 30-day challenge. I will be back live tomorrow morning between 9:30 and 10:30 in the morning. Probably closer to 10:30 tomorrow, I'll just be honest. And we'll be doing day 12 of our 30-day challenge, which I'm really just like, I can't believe it. We're at day 12 already. And I'm just, it's so cool, because I do see, you know, writing the goals, and you see quicker ways to get to the outcome you're looking for, and your action items start getting more specific and more direct, and you start going, oh crap, I can get like twice as much done in half the time because I know where I'm going with this. Yeah. It's exciting, good stuff. So I hope you guys have a wonderful night. Get a great night's sleep, and I'll talk to you tomorrow morning. Enjoy the moments. Bye.